Welcome everyone to another 7 Minutes or Less recap. Today I shall be recapping the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2. This is part 1 of Season 2 because I am not kidding when I say so much happens in this season. Without further ado, let's get started. For all intents and purposes, everything in this season is about and will be about this mysterious object called the Obelisk. Flashbacks show Agent Carter and Captain America's team post Steve Rogers shutting down the last of Hydra's sites. They obtain the Obelisk, which kills anyone who touches it, and they arrest Reinhardt, who was in charge of the operation. In present day, Coulson and his team, along with some new members, Isabel Hartley and Lance Hunter, are securing a deal to obtain the Obelisk, but things are cut short when a third party, Carl Crusher Creel, crashes this meetup. Crusher earns the name as he comes in like a brute force using his abilities that can absorb anything he touches. This puts the team at a disadvantage. Coulson uses the resources of Grant Ward in his custody to find out how to intercept Hydra's way of communication and find out that Glenn Talbot is going to be used to find the Obelisk. The team intercepts, Talbot's security detail apprehends Crusher, Coulson's team kidnaps Talbot. An ounce of bargaining, a pinch of trickery, and Coulson's team is in Talbot's facility ready to retrieve the Obelisk. But the situation doesn't go as touches the Obelisk and it begins to kill her. Crusher intercepts, causing the death of a few members including Hartley herself. Crusher delivers the Obelisk and is revealed Reinhardt is alive and has not aged since 1945. Episode 2 continues the storyline of what just took place moments before. Talbot takes Lance and offers him $2 million and a proper burial for Hartley in exchange to sell out Coulson. Crusher is experiencing difficulties after touching the Obelisk. Raina shows up, bargaining for the Obelisk, but it doesn't work out. Raina calls Coulson and helps them locate Crusher. Crusher is turned to stone. Fitz, who is alive and a part of the team since the beginning of this season, is revealed to be nearly unstable as he hallucinates about Simmons, who was never there in the first place. Raina steals the Obelisk and shows it to Skye's father. Raina is then revealed she can hold the Obelisk without it killing her. Talbot refuses to help Coulson in any way, and Coulson actually wants to help anyway, and Coulson in his private time continues to carve symbols, keeping it from his team. Episode 3 has a reprisal of a character back in Season 1, a student making the weather machine I mentioned back in the recap of Season 1, Donnie Gill. While this plotline is fine, this episode really is about Simmons proving her loyalties to Hydra. They ultimately succeed with the situation at hand. Daniel Whitehall, aka Reinhardt, has a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in custody known as Agent 33 and is being brainwashed. Agent 33 does have a subplot in all this throughout the season, but I really don't have time to get into her. Fitz finds out about Grant Ward out of curiosity when he doesn't understand how Skye gets her intel. Things end with Donnie killed, Simmons trusted more in the next random figurehead, a part of Hydra, and Hydra knows that S.H.I.E.L.D. is becoming more and more of a problem. Episode 4 is a clue into what is going on with Coulson as a church is burnt down, but a 500-year-old painting has the same strange carvings on the back of it that Coulson makes. The fun complexities come through in this episode as Talbot is seemingly involved with trying to retrieve this painting as well at a fundraising event. We find out it's not Talbot, but the next Hydra figurehead trying to confiscate the painting, to which he succeeds. Agent 33 is involved as she is masked as Agent May. Of course, Coulson catches onto this plan and fights Agent 33. Then Agent 33 fights with May, while Coulson tries to obtain the painting once and for all. Raina shows up at the end of all of this under Skye's father's orders, only to be intercepted by Whitehall, making her do his bidding. She is given 48 hours to return the Obelisk or be killed. Episode 5 is mostly tying up loose ends and completing story arcs. One in particular is Simmons and her position in Hydra. Raina forces Coulson to protect her in her current situation, and Coulson says no. Raina sends an email exposing Simmons, and Simmons tries to get the heck out of the facility, only to be rescued by Bobby Morse, an undercover S.H.I.E.L.D. agent thought to be a loyal Hydra operative. Before the time, at the time, and after the times that took place, Skye is helping Coulson investigate the strange symbols. She puts two and two together together and realize it with the help of Grant that people are injected with the GH325 serum start experiencing these said symptoms. Skye and Coulson both have the GH325 in their bodies. Skye confronts Coulson and he confesses. A theory becomes that these symbols could be a map. After all this muss and fuss, Skye's father, dubbed the Doctor, ends up going to Whitehall offering the obelisk as a chance to use it and understand it. Episode 6 is about mercenaries attacking the UN as Talbot is making a speech about how S.H.I.E.L.D. is a terrorist organization. Talbot escapes alive and goes to Ward's brother, who is a senator. Ward's brother, Christian, looks to finally bring down S.H.I.E.L.D., but with the worry that his brother might be exposed to the press. Simmons and Fitz have a rough patch dealing with their problems accordingly. Agent Morse, who saved Simmons, is actually in direct ties to Lance Hunter, and they used to be married. And yes, these two are throughout this season, but their bickering or marriage problems doesn't take precedence in this series. And Morse does prove to be a good asset to the team. Coulson confronts Christian Ward and says if he allies himself with S.H.I.E.L.D. and decries Hydra, he will hand over Ward. This happens and Ward is transferred en route to Christian, but before all this happens, Grant escapes. Skye does receive more information about her father through Ward before he leaves. And in episode 7, we finally get answers to Phil's backstory and what he was a part of before he died. He was in charge of the Tahiti Project with subjects injected with the GH325 serum. They all experienced the same thing Coulson did. They went crazy and obsessively drew the symbols. In the end, one thing leads to another and they find out the symbols are a blueprint to a city. This wraps up my part 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2. Check out my recap of Season 2, Part 2 tomorrow or today. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you like this, please subscribe and like for more 7 minutes or less recaps.